All right, good morning, everybody. This is Dusty with the Fellowship Committee, and we are here with Don and Pam Kettering. Oh my goodness, the townspeople of the year. I cannot wait to hear more about you because you're just giggling the whole time, so I can't wait to hear the stories that are going to come out of this. So thank you for having me here today and doing this for us. We just are enjoying this so much. So, when did you become a member of our church, and what influenced you to join?
Well, we became members of the church shortly after we moved to Yankton, and how long has that been?
1976.
My goodness.
So, UCC is the church we grew up in, and we're from Brentford, South Dakota, and we just came back home.
That's neat. Why did you move to Yankton?
Well, we moved from El Paso, Texas to Yankton. I was in the Army in Texas, and when I got out, and we moved back here from there. And we selected Yankton because we had a job offer here working for Farm Credit Services of America.
Cool. So, when you moved back here, you went to work at Farm Credit.
Yep.
And is that where you stayed for a lot of years?
I stayed working for them for my entire career, about 38 years. I did travel for 4 years through Iowa, or for most of that time, through Iowa, Nebraska, Wyoming, and South Dakota.
Wow. And what did you do during all this?
I taught piano and at home, and then when I started teaching at Mount Music, and I've taught piano for.
My goodness, how come you never play on Sundays?
Because I don't practice much now.
Okay. All right, so where did you grow up, Pam?
Brentford, South Dakota.
Okay. And you too?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
We were kind of not too far apart, 2 miles apart.
How did you meet?
Our families lived there most of their lives, and we grew up together.
Yeah, and the first time I really actually noticed her was I was tilling the ground in one field, and I noticed this tractor coming through the field, tilling it right towards me, and I kept thinking, wow, that looks strange. It looks like they're wearing a white shirt. Well, as we got closer together, I could see my little loved one was wearing a white halter top.
Oh.
And she was driving her dad's tractor, and I was driving my dad's tractor, and that's how it worked.
And how old were you then?
She was 5 and I was 6.
I had to be in high school.
Probably 15.
Okay. Well, that explains that.
Yeah.
Where did you go on your first date?
Ooh.
Probably.
Sadie Hawkins? I don't know.
It could have been an Elvis Presley movie.
Yeah, Blue Hawaii. I bet that was it.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Did you get married there?
Yep, at the church.
At
UCC
Hawaii?
church.
In Blue Hawaii, yeah. No, at the church.
Oh, yeah, we got married at the church, yeah.
Cool. Did you
Yeah.
have a big wedding?
Yeah, it was pretty large.
Small community there, not a lot of people around.
So you pretty much invite everybody.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, ice cream and cake and punch and no alcohol and no dance, and that was pretty much it.
Did you go on honeymoon?
Well,
Yes.
yes. The funniest part of that was I had a bunch of good buddies that put some big boulders in my car seat and filled it up with newspaper.
Filled it up.
filled
Totally.
it up full with newspaper. And so when we went out to leave the wedding and take off, we had to empty that all out. And in the process of doing that, our wedding license fell out of my pocket. And I didn't know that until we got to the hotel or motel that we were staying at. And I went to get it out to show that we were legal, because back then you had to kind of be legal. And there was no wedding license, so I had to postpone our honeymoon for 3 hours while I drove back to Brentford, searched through that pile of paper to get.
And where did you go? Where was this that you had to drive back from?
Well, it wasn't very far.
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, 30
Oh, okay.
miles, 35
30 miles.
miles. It
Okay.
wasn't bad, yeah.
Well, that was
Seemed
fun.
like it took forever.
And that's how it's been for the rest of our lives.
Digging through paper searching for stuff, right? Yes, that's true. So, when you were growing up, did you do well, you were both raised on a farm?
Yes.
Both your parents farmed? Yeah?
We both worked a lot on the farm. Her folks had a small laying operation. It was a large one at that time.
Chicken lane.
Couple thousand, 3,000 hens or something. So
Oh,
she
my.
did a lot of egg work and
Or cooking when everybody else went out and did that.
yeah.
Then I had to stay inside and make dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I started working
Oh.
probably when I was 7 or 8 on tractors and stuff. And I think I was maybe 9 or 10. I would work for my Uncle Frank during the summers.
And what did you
He lived
do?
about 10 miles away, farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did you learn this skill of craftsmanship, of building, with working with wood that you have?
Well, if you want to look at my hands, you'll see I wasn't very good at it.
Probably in the army.
Cut off end, but yeah. In the Army,
The workshop.
when we lived in Germany, they had woodcraft shops for people to go and do things, and that's where I first started getting the interest. But I did when I was in high school.
Oh.
I did build an outhouse.
All right.
2-holer.
Oh, my goodness. So, how many years were you in the military? And
Oh,
thank you for your
5 and a
service.
half.
Okay. And you went over to Germany,
Yeah,
and you spent how much time there?
37 months.
Oh, did you like it?
Loved
Loved
it. Loved
Yeah.
it. German people are great people, and all the Europeans that we met were great to us.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very nice.
Our
That's the
son
way
was
I.
born about 6 months after we arrived in Germany.
Oh,
So we raised him up in Germany too.
yeah. That's nice.
It was
I
it was
love
wonderful.
Europe. I spent 3.5 months in Switzerland in 1977, and that was fabulous.
We traveled, put him in the car and away we went.
Mhm.
We traveled a lot. Went skiing. He was skiing when we were there, and it was just fabulous.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you remember your grandparents?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, tell me about that.
My dad's parents lived in Brentford, and so we spent a lot of time with them. I used to go over and curl my grandma's hair, and they were just wonderful, wonderful people. Grandpa was very jovial, and he was, and Grandma was maybe a little more stern, but.
A funny story about her grandpa. He worked until he was, I don't know, almost died, I suppose, before he died. But he was disking a field, and he left the field, and pulled onto Highway 20, which is a asphalt road, and he forgot to lift the disc out of the car. So he left disc marks for a half a mile down the highway. And then he quit. He said, no more.
I guess. Yeah.
He was quite a character. He was a fun guy.
My mom's parents lived in Aberdeen, and Grandpa died when I was pretty young, so I don't remember him very well, but my grandma was, she crocheted and knitted like crazy. She made, I don't know how many grandchildren she must have had by then. It was in the 40s, but she knit all of us an Afghan, and
Nice.
she was very productive, and they lived during the 30s, and so they taught us a lot about how to conserve and be careful with what you have.
Yes. Yeah.
Both of them did.
Yeah.
And my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side lived in Brentford. They moved there from the farm when my dad got out of the army after World War II. And Dad went on to the family farm, and they moved into Brentford. And you know, I have one really fond memory of my grandpa. I used to have one of those red leather caps that fit around. You had straps under your neck, and I'd always be sucking on the strap. And one day he got sick and tired of that, and he cut the straps off, and it just about killed me. Maybe that's why I've turned out so mean. I'll blame it on Grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the meanest one, that Don Kettering, I'm telling you.
But both families were members of the same church, so it was.
Yeah.
My grandma and grandpa were, the other, on Mom's side, were in Turton, South Dakota, and back then, I doubt that there were 10 people, members, but they had service every Sunday,
Wow.
and we pretty much attended every Sunday.
Yeah, I bet.
When I was 10 or so, I went to work for my Uncle Frank, and he was a bachelor, having gotten out of World War II, kind of messed up. And so I lived with Grandma and Grandpa until Grandpa died. Then it was just Grandma, but she always had Sunday dinners for 20 people, I suppose, 30
Sure.
people.
Oh, yeah.
And hardworking.
Do you have siblings?
I have 3 brothers. I have 2 brothers. One died.
Okay.
2 living brothers, yeah.
What about you?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Are they around here?
My sister lives in Sioux Falls. My brother lives on the farm,
Okay.
and the other brother lives in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
He was a pilot from Vietnam, and then airline pilot.
Okay. Okay. So
they settled in Atlanta.
yeah, it's a good place for a pilot. Big airport there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, he lived there, but he flew out of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
So every time he'd start a flight, he'd have to fly to Chicago and then do the flights. So
Yeah.
And his younger brother also lived on the farm, on their farm after his folks moved into town.
yeah,
And that's what we did too. We moved onto our grandparents' farm, and they moved into Brentford. So both the grandparents were living in Brentford then too.
That's good.
So,
Close by.
yep.
you may not, or everybody may not know where Brentford is, but Aberdeen is a suburb of Brentford.
I see. I see. That's how that works, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So, did either one of you do college of any kind?
Yes, went to Northern State College, university now, and the I went 3 years went to summer school, and then the last year we were married. Then, you?
You said, did we do college?
Go to college.
Oh, go.
Yeah.
You said do.
Go. Whoa. Oops.
That's about the way my
Yikes.
college career went.
Yeah, that's about the way mine did too. Whoops. They'll cut that out.
Yeah, I went to Northern State College in Aberdeen, got an undergraduate degree there, and then
In what?
Economics and government.
Okay.
And then went to South Dakota State University and got a master's degree in economics. And I was really kind of prolonging my entrance into the military because of the Vietnam War. And that kind of run out, so I went through ROTC and got commissioned and went on active duty after that.
My degree was in music education. So when he went to Brookings to college, then I taught elementary and middle school music for 3 years.
I loved music when I was in school, so thank you for doing that.
Well, I enjoyed it with most of the students.
Yes. Yeah.
She very frequently sings to me every night when I'm just going to bed.
I don't know whether to believe you guys or not.
I wouldn't believe that one.
Okay. Okay. But I know you do sing, so what's been your most fun thing you've done with the church?
I think it's been working with the kids. When we first joined, I directed the little kids choir, and then I don't know how we ever fell into the directing the bell choir. I think it was when Yankton College closed, and Gene Brinkmeyer brought the bells into church and kind of started that
Yeah.
experience off.
That was beautiful yesterday, by
Oh,
the way.
thank you.
Just fabulous. They're really good.
Yes, they are. They are.
Yep.
They have their good time, but they do pull through really well.
Yep, they do.
We're lucky there.
What about you? Most fun thing you've done with church? Besides barbecuing for us, which is wonderful.
I don't know. I guess maybe my most fun thing is every week being able to reconnect with a greater being.
Mm. Yep, that's important.
And I better not neglect singing in the choir, because that is fun.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And I've tried to get in a choir for years. Every time I have to have a tryout in front of the choir, and Ted and Jennifer are really ugly about this. They say, show of hands, thumbs up, he's in, thumbs down, he's out. Be 100% thumbs down. I don't know. Would you like me to sing a little bit? So,
Absolutely.
oh, the old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be, ain't what she used to be.
We're on film, you know.
Oh,
We're gonna have a playback of that, like over and over.
Put a top on that can.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so something surprising about you that most people don't know.
That's a tough one.
You're an open book.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, I guess I'd rather work outside than be in the house working.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you do a lot of the gardening? You help him?
yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cool. Because you guys have an expansive gardening area.
yes, we do, don't we?
She's always trying to make it bigger, and I say, come on now, we're getting older,
Not wrong, wrong, wrong.
cut back, cut back.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what, I guess I don't know what the answer to that is, what people would surprise me, or would surprise them. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah. I think people know a lot about both of you because, you know, you've been in politics for how many years now?
Oh, I guess 6 or 8, maybe 8, yeah.
Have you enjoyed that?
Oh, absolutely. It's a way of serving, giving back.
What influenced you to start?
I quit work for Farm Credit, and I didn't want to quit work. I wanted to keep doing something, pay back for. We think this community is a fantastic community.
Agreed.
They offer so many things and do so much for the community, for people, and I just wanted to pay back, and that was an option, and so I ran for it.
It's wonderful. Thank you for doing that. So, if you had the ability to give your former self when you were like in your 20s advice, or give your kids and grandkids advice, or the community, what would it be?
Go ahead.
I would recommend getting involved with volunteering somewhere, sharing your talents. I guess one thing I never anticipated that I'd be doing was working in like a United Way. I mean, I thought music was my lifestyle, but once you get involved with community, you never know where it's going to lead you.
So what all have you done?
Well, I started serving on boards while I was teaching piano, and then I was on the contact center board,
Okay.
and all of a sudden they were talking about lots of volunteers and needed directions, and so it was decided we'd have a volunteer and information center, and I applied for that and got it. So worked with that in that capacity for, I don't know, maybe 5 years, and then the United Way director retired, so they were looking for someone to fill that slot, and so talking with the Volunteer Information Board of Directors, they decided, well, let's approach United Way and see if we couldn't combine the two agencies. So all of a sudden I was working there, and then while working at that time, we were in the Capitol building. That's where my office was. And then the city was a great partner to work with, and they wanted to have kids' birthday parties to bring in a little more revenue. And when they were up, the place just echoes like crazy. I mean, if somebody talks, everybody can hear it. So we decided we needed to find a new office place. So we went on Broadway, and then we had a good-sized building, so we asked other agencies if they would like to join in and share the copy machine and office space and reduce costs for them, and started that, and then pretty soon we were expanding, and I mean, you just never know where it's gonna lead.
Right.
And what kind of issues you can address and come up with some good ideas.
Yeah.
So, get involved.
Get involved. What about you, Mr. Don?
If I were to give advice about what I would give myself advice about, is that work hard, play hard, involved in your church and try to live a very open and friendly life.
It works.
Work.
It works. Yep. So, favorite time of year? What is it?
I guess mine would be spring. It's, and fall, they're both too short for me. But I love spring, seeing flowers pop up and
Mm-hmm.
grass turn green, and hopefully it will this year. But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
I love the fall colors.
And I like, my best time of year is from around the 1st of April until the end of January. 2 months I don't really care for, February and March. The rest of them I love.
Yeah. Especially around here, you know.
Yeah.
It gets a little breezy and chilly and yeah.
Yeah.
Except this last year, not so
Well,
much.
you're anticipating the great things of spring gardening and stuff that's coming up. It seems like those 2 months are pretty long.
Mm-hmm. But it's still pretty from this view up here. I don't care what time of year it is. Well, is there anything else you want to share with us that you can think of?
I think you've drawn about as much out of us as we've got.
The only advice that I would throw out is that if you have problems or challenges in life, be open and talk with other people and work them out. Don't try to do everything yourself.
Good advice. I think just about everybody has touched on that. You know, we're not islands, and somebody's been through it before, and they can help,
Yep.
you know. So, well, thank you for sharing more of you, you little halter top girl. White halter top. Yeah, that's a great one. I love it.
Yeah.
So did I. You know, the field was,
Never
they were
mind.
long, and I'd shorten my, because she was doing it, she was getting down to the corner, so her rounds were shorter, and I had to shorten my trip around so I could see her every time I come to the corner.
I had to shorten my
And-
corners because
and
one of the first times
she-
around, I got the machinery hooked into the fence. Which didn't
She
leave my
just
hand.
loved me so much she could.
Well, thanks, you guys. It's
Oh,
been
my.
wonderful.
It was fun.
All right.